Hey guys, from little sleepy Greenwich. I'm in the market hall. I've got a little bit of time to kill today with the group where we've been on the Cutty Sark. We're gonna go have tea in a little bit, but for now I'm just hanging around. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to address you guys and address a question that I get asked all the time, and that is how I got my job. People back when they ask me this question because I don't have a good answer. There's not like a thing I looked for on Monster that I found, like some loophole. It's just kind of how my career's evolved. But I thought I'd use the time to talk to you about what I've done to set myself up to a situation that allows us to just live a little bit of a different lifestyle. I think before I could even start, I need to address, what do I do? That's another question that people ask, like, what is your job? So my official job is I'm the director of a study abroad program for a US university based out of the UK and France, which means I take students around, I'm a professor for the university, and yeah. The other thing I do is I'm a lifestyle blogger, and so I do blogging, I do partnerships with that, but then because of that, I also work with clients and I plan trips for them because I have a lot of experience in the field. So I kind of do several things, and I have 3 children. So I do a lot of things, and yet I'm at home a lot, and yet I'm on the road a lot, and it all kind of is a crazy lifestyle that's evolved over the last 8 years, but it actually starts before that. So that's what I do, and I'll tell you kind of how I got to each of those places. So I started using blogging as a way to keep myself not from being lonely when Tyler was doing his MBA. So I would just write. I would write whatever was on my mind. It was really heartfelt. I wasn't getting paid for it. It was just kind of a way to talk about stuff, to share things I liked. No intention of it actually, well, I mean, I always probably would have thought it was a cool idea, but it was before blogging was something people actually did for a career. It was just something maybe you got free stuff out of. So yeah, so for me that worked. I blogged, started making friends, and I started blogging about what I was doing with my free time here. So the next part of my job is the one that is like my real title, because I never have really felt like blogging is like a actual thing, even though it is. But my actual job is I'm the director of a Northern European programs for US University. So that came out of me volunteering my time when I moved here. And just to help students, because I believed in studying abroad. I believed more in that than I did wanting to see the sights of England, because it was such a big deal for me as a student. I loved the process of studying abroad and how it changed me as a 19-year-old, and I wanted to get involved in facilitating that. So I volunteered my time. I wasn't even getting paid for it. I was just literally going to help with some of the experience I had, and yeah, I loved it, and I poured my heart into it, and I did a good job. And I think because of that, it turned into a full-time thing, which was amazing, and not a place I'd ever expected to see myself, but there I was. I'd made myself available. I'd used my free time to push myself into that. So that kind of worked out. But the nature of that is every 3 months my students leave, and I have a gap of time before my next group comes, so I could really use what I was doing and build content in those off times to build Aspiring Kennedy, or to keep growing that. So I wasn't doing either of them like full time, but I was also like pouring my heart into both, because I was at a stage in my life where I could do that. This was pre-kids, and it was while Taylor was at Oxford, so I used that time advantageously. I mean, I'd stay up late, I would go meet up with people, I would just pretty much do anything to do a good job directing and to do a good job with the content that I was making, so that it was like a labor of love. It made no sense, it didn't make me any money, but I just did it because I loved it. And I think that taught me that if you're gonna get into something, you're gonna have to do it for free for a while, just to actually like prove what you can do. You're gonna feel stupid because everybody around you is gonna just see you putting a lot of time and hours into something that you're not making an immediate return on. So, but for example, when you watch this vlog, it will probably be edited and look cool, but right now I'm having to walk around like a moron with my phone in front of me, and people are looking at me, but you can't see that part, you just see the end result. As I started to post content, I was posting about what we were doing, which was traveling. I was planning group travel for people all over the UK, all over Scotland, and people started asking for my advice because they were coming too and they needed help. So I would write all these emails and people would ask me for help. And do you know why I started charging? This is a little secret. It's because I think about 1 out of 10 people would tell me thank you. Isn't that terrible? And I just wasn't really up for spending an hour of my evening for people that would never even reply. I figured the people that actually really wanted my help could pay a little bit, and I realized I was adding a lot of value for these trips, so I started charging, and I was really surprised by how much that grew, but it just shows me what a need and what a service it actually is for people. So travel consults are kind of like what I do late at night after everyone's asleep, because those are the hours that I overlap with the US markets. It's a weird thing I could have never predicted, but it's just me using my skill set in a way that people have asked for. Okay, so I've told you about trying something different, trying something for free, doing a lot of hours in it. The other thing I think that you need to know is that it's not like you get to pick which plates you're spinning. If you're going to do a job where you do a bunch of different things, you just have to learn to spin one plate really good for a long time, and then once you get steady on that, you can add in another one, and that's how you piece it together. It's not just like a buffet where you go through and choose like, oh, I think I want to do some styling, I think I want to do blogging, I really want to travel. No, like you get good at something, good enough till you get to a point where you can take on something else. That's what I've done. I don't really fully commit to something until I've kind of got my feet under me, and then I can do another little bit and a little bit. It's not a race. You don't waltz into this position. It's a crawl, and it is a constant juggling act to keep everything up. So yeah, it's like plate spinning. It's not going through a buffet. It's keeping so many things going, but you can do that because you've figured out how to do one at a time. So get good at something, figure out how you can do that to the level that you like, and then try to grab another stick and spin that plate too. The thing is this isn't like, it's a beautiful lifestyle, but it is not for the faint of heart. It is a busy, sweaty, because you're moving all the time, low sleep kind of situation. I know it looks fun, but man, I am flipping tired, okay? So if you think this is the leisurely way into life, you're wrong. You are signing yourself up to not sleep for about a good solid 2 decades. I think the Europe factor is the other big thing that people want to figure out, like, how can I move to Europe? And I have to be honest, I don't have a good answer for you. The thing is the UK has really changed how you can move over here, even since my previous vlog I did 5 years ago on how to move to the UK. The truth is, it's pretty much impossible unless you're a student or unless a company's transferred you over. And unless you're like 15 years into a company, they're probably not gonna transfer you. So if you wanna come over, then you need to come over as a student or marry a British guy, whichever. Okay, there's someone practicing the trumpet out the window. Sounds really nice. So I can just hear you if you already are like in a position where you're a few years down the road and you've got kids, like how do I actually start this now? It's definitely harder. But I think one of the things you can do is just start small in the available hours that you do and just try to do one thing, whether that's like blogging, or if you want to like do your master's to get yourself into a career. I had to get my master's while I was pregnant with a toddler and working full-time, but that I had to do it. So I used every little waking hour that I could. So try to do one thing, qualify yourself to get to a step up. And that was 3 years ago. So everything's building. They're filming a movie over there or something. I don't know what's going on. And finally, my last role. Well, not my last, but the one that's not on a resume, but I'm a mom and I'm a wife. And those things grew. I was a wife when I started blogging, but we've added kids into the mix slowly, as you do. And that is, yeah, I think you just have to realize all of these have grown a little bit at a time, and I've just kind of added more to my plate when I thought I could. I didn't do it all at once. If I had to jump into this from just a regular desk job, I would vomit. I mean, just this morning I was like really stressed to Tyler that I was gonna have to wear Edie for another 8 hours because she's at the point now where it's not comfortable. I feel like I've been pregnant for like 14 months with this kid because she's been on a Bjorn because I take her to work. It's just a lot. So just realize like you build up your stamina. It's not like something you can just take on all at once, but you just basically adjust and add on things as you find them. I think the last thing I want to tell you is you have to learn when to say no. I always say if my blog looks good, my house is probably a wreck. And as I've had more and more kids and added that into the equation of what our life looks like, I just can't. Like, that's not a priority that I can pass up. I have to keep my home life steady, so I have to step back on the blog. I have to say no to projects, and that's okay, because the end of the day is not to have a great blog. It's to have a normal, happy life. And so you have to say no a lot to things and keep your priorities down. So please remember that. If you get anything from me, it's that the real life is way, way, way better than anything that you'll see on a blog. So there you go. That's how we've done it. Say no when you need to, take on when you can, feel good about it, and realize this isn't a short game here. It's like a long, long crawl to get to where you're wanting to go. But if I can do it, you can, for sure. So good luck, guys. And yeah, don't email me with any questions because I don't have time. Just kidding. Write your comments below. You can subscribe. I try to give tips and everything as I do it. Sorry if I don't always reply. That's just life for me right now. But thanks for all your support. Thanks for being a part of this journey. You make it really fun.